and welcome to this episode of What Cause Inspires You. I'm your host, Faith Lang, and today I have with me Sasha Miller. Alicia Gupta, my friend and fellow Humanity Rising ambassador, launched the What Cause Inspires You podcast as a way for students to share the service they're doing in their communities. We encourage youth like Sasha, who's making a change to improve the world, to speak up about their stories and become a leader in the movement. Sasha Miller is a 2021 graduating senior and Boulder native. She has found her passion of poverty, conservation, and indigenous rights through travel, education, and personal experiences. She loves to talk to people and be involved within her community, and she is currently working as an Americorps member with PeaceJam. However, outside of her work, she can often be found outside hiking, backpacking, or surfing if there is an ocean. We're recording this presentation and we'll post the video on YouTube by Saturday and the audio on Spotify by Friday. Sasha, it's so exciting to have you here today. So you ready to get started?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So why don't you start by telling us about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sasha, and like she said, I'm a Colorado native from Boulder. I'm graduating in 2021, and I actually graduated in December and spent the last 6 months. Sorry. And spent the last 6 months working in Hawaii and really doing a lot over indigenous rights over there. Throughout my high school career, I've spent a lot of it traveling and advocating for change among underprivileged people. My junior year, I studied in South Africa, and part of my senior year, like I said, was spent in Hawaii. And South Africa and being in Hawaii really sparked my passion for poverty and homelessness. And then outside of school and work, I'm often hanging out with my family, doing something outdoors, just hanging out with friends and being like a regular senior.
That's awesome. I bet that's super exciting in Hawaii too. So you kind of mentioned this about being in South Africa, but why is poverty your passion?
Poverty and homelessness and all the things that go with it are very personal issues to me. When I was young, it was always unfair to me that some of my classmates could afford the newest gadgets, phones, and toys, whereas some of us could not. And I realized that's a childish thing to say and to compare it to, but that was my worry back then. But as I grew older, I noticed that these same classmates were also able to afford better school supplies, tutors, and also didn't have to work a job outside of school. And were consequently doing better in school and sports. And it's essentially just an advantage they could afford. This realization was where I started to notice that having less money made it a lot more difficult to do just as good of things as people who had more money. This stark realization really kind of was amplified when I went and lived in South Africa, where many of my peers couldn't afford school because school can cost as much as their parents is making in a year. Or they had to work outside of school or go beg outside of school and couldn't even go to school sometimes. It was a really dramatic change from the small differences I'd seen in my small, wealthy hometown to kind of be in the middle of the village. It was from here that I decided that I needed to work towards everyone having a foundation to thrive off of and kind of a relief from poverty.
Yeah, that's really inspirational how you saw that cause and really took a step towards that. So what kind of actions have you been taking?
Well, been doing a lot of smaller actions recently just because of COVID and all the restrictions that come along with it. But my main ones have been giving assistance boxes, which contain basic necessities from food to school supplies to toiletries. And then just a whole bunch of different drives. I've run a school supply drive for the past 2 years for the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. And we've been doing a lot of community garden work up there to kind of help relief of food desert that they have there in order to get healthy food and also for them to spend less money on that so that they can spend it on other things, as well as many other short-term solutions. I really, truly believe in the saying, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. but teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. Recently, I have been trying to educate people about what they can do in their communities. And I've really been active in my legislature to try and change inhumane laws and the naturally inhumane systemic issues we have. This is a much longer term fight. And honestly, it might not even happen in my lifetime, but it's something I truly care about. And it's something that needs to be changed eventually. The hardest part about this long-term change is that there is not one solution, and that solution is constantly changing as well. And regardless of how well we change them, we'll never have a perfect system. It's really just about making the system a little bit better at a time. And I'm trying to educate people on that and get people excited, or not excited, but get people motivated and want to have this little fire in them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I feel like none of the steps that you're taking are small at all. Like I feel like everything makes like a giant impact. And I definitely see what you're saying about how solutions change, but we need people like you to make those solutions. So it's really amazing to hear that you're doing these things.
Thank you.
So how have your actions and advocacy evolved throughout your time working in them?
Oh man, a lot. I am naturally a very ambitious person. And when I first started my work, which I really started in 8th grade, kind of joining the Colorado Youth Advisory Council, where these issues were never even thought of to me. And then they were suddenly there at the forefront of the work I was doing. So I would want to create these huge events, these programs, bills, and campaigns. And it was just overwhelming, especially as a young person who is just starting to get into this line of work and balancing school and a job. And as young people, we often aren't taken very seriously when we say that we want to change these issues and we want to be a power in these campaigns. A lot of my projects were just looked at lower levels just because I was, 15, 16. But as I've continued throughout this work, I really have seen the benefit in making a profound difference on very few people's lives rather than making a very small difference on many people's lives. I feel that when I connect with people, I often can know what they need better and I can know how I can help them better. And so I've really started to focus on, this is the person I'm helping. How can I help them the best? Or this is the group of people I'm helping. How can I help them the best? Rather than kind of being like, oh, I want to give toothbrushes to 250 people. Like it's a very nice thing and it's something that they'll probably appreciate, but it's not as heartfelt of an effect because many times with those big campaigns, you don't meet the people you're giving a toothbrush to or anything like that, and you don't hear their stories. And just hearing people's stories really keeps me motivated for what the work I'm doing. I really believe that I was made to help serve people, and that's just kind of my motivation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you mentioned that you're an ambitious person, and I've definitely seen that kind of unravel throughout all of your work, and that's really impressive. So what's the future for you?
Oh man, I'm not really sure what the future holds. It's kind of been thrown up in the air with COVID and then graduating high school and all those kind of things. But I really would love to continue working in nonprofits and helping people by doing on the ground work. During college, I plan to travel a lot and work to help put myself through school. It's online school, so I'll be doing a degree in public service and public policy, but also having the ability to travel and to work is a great thing. And after college, I would really love to take on a Peace Corps mission and kind of further humanitarian work and conservation work a lot.
Dang, that's amazing. Like genuinely, I don't think I know anyone that like intends on going to the Peace Corps, and that's really amazing that you're planning on doing that. And it's people like you that really are making a difference in the world. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So what is something that you would tell those who want to make a difference but who don't know how?
Yeah. I tell them everything that I wish I was told when I was younger. Really like find what makes you feel like you're making the biggest difference you can and stick with it every day with confidence and with just like the fire that you have for it. Being a confident and enthusiastic leader is the best thing you can do to make a difference and get people to follow in the example you're setting. Follow your passion with a fire that can't be compared to anyone else or anything else. And just kind of know that like this is your thing, you know?
For sure, for sure. I wish I heard those words a couple years ago. Took me a while to figure that out, but yeah, I'm glad you're sharing that message with everyone. Lastly, if the audience viewers want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
The best way to get in contact with me is typically email. I'm a constant email checker. And my email is Sasha, SASHA MIL 0308 @gmail.com. And I'm so open to talking to people, or if you have questions or you need advice, or I'm an open book. And so I'd love to talk to people and connect to people.
Awesome. We'll also put that in the description on our YouTube and Spotify posting. So look out for that in there. So thank you so much for working and doing all of this, Sasha. Listening to you is super inspiring, and I'm sure everyone listening really learned something from you. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you for all you guys do. And I'm so excited to hear all about what the listeners are doing and what inspires you guys.
Thank you. We'll also be putting Alicia Gupta's email address in the description, as well as the application form to be a speaker, just so that if anyone has questions, they can learn more about the What Cause Inspires You podcast series. And be sure to follow our Instagram and Facebook pages to stay updated on our scholarship opportunities, future podcasts, and events. And speaking of future podcasts, we will have another one same time next week on Wednesday. So be sure to look up for that. Thank you everyone for attending, and we hope to see you again in next week's podcast. And thanks again, Sasha.
Yeah, see you guys.